Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Beautiful Life, the podcast where I interview just regular old, normal, everyday people and figure out who they are, how they see the world, and how their lives have informed their worldview. This podcast is an attempt to counterbalance the social media narrative that divides us into opposing viewpoints and that tells us that people on the other side are evil and we shouldn't even listen to them. We don't do that here. We listen, we learn, we try to be compassionate and empathetic. We try not to judge or shame. In today's podcast, I would like to introduce you to my friend Alice. I know Alice because I have been friends with her husband Neil for years. Neil and I went to university in Canada, and years ago he went to Uganda doing some work with an NGO, with a non-governmental organization, and while he was there he met Alice and they fell in love and they got married and they had kids and they've been living there ever since. They come back to Canada to visit on a pretty regular basis, so I got to know Alice that way. But during COVID, they invited me and my children to come live with them in Uganda and help, and I homeschooled their children plus Alice's brother's children and my own two children for 3.5 months. We sort of stomped around this farm in Uganda and ran through the rainforest and did all sorts of homeschooling. When I arrived in Uganda, I did not realize that Alice was from privilege. I had a lot to learn about how the world works in Africa. You know, we watch so many advertisements on TV, those World Vision advertisements that lead us to believe that everyone in Africa is starving to death. And at the dinner table, I remember being told, you better eat that food. There are starving children in Africa. Uganda isn't like that at all. There are definitely people who are very, very, very poor, a level of poor that we do not witness here in Canada. So that's not to say that they're privileged, but Alice is privileged. She comes from an important family in Uganda. When I arrived in Uganda, the farm that they took me to had, I think it's 640 acres, and dozens of families live on that farm and make their living on that farm. So it was this really interesting dynamic where I'm a very poor person from a rich country, living in a poor country with a rich person, and all the Africans assumed that because I was white that I must be rich, but I wasn't rich. And then now that my friend is here in Canada, Canadians assume that because she's from Africa that she must be poor. So it's a really, our friendship is one that sort of blows up all the things that you sort of expect, the normal things that you kind of expect with the assumptions that we make about different cultures and different skin colors and different countries. Now, Alice and her husband and the boys moved to Canada last August. They've been here for about 6 months now. It was sort of the plan all along to have the boys, when they're younger, stay in Africa, and then when they got a little bit older to come to Canada, because the education system here offers them a lot more opportunity than the education system in Uganda. So now that they've been living in Canada for about 6 months, I found it really interesting to sort of pick her brain and kind of understand her perspective of these two different cultures and these two different ways of seeing the world and all these biases that people have. And I think you're going to find this to be a really interesting interview. I would like to remind you, if you're going to comment on this interview, Alice and I are both real people. So don't say anything through your keyboard that you wouldn't say if you were face to face with us. And I would also like to apologize at the very beginning of this interview. There's a lot of background noise. The kids were all playing in the next room. But that does only last for the first little bit. And then the rest of the interview is a lot quieter. And this is by far the longest interview that I've ever done. I think it's almost 2 hours long. So you might need to break it up into smaller pieces to listen to the whole thing. But it is really worth it listening to the whole thing, especially at the end. My favorite part is probably the last half hour. Without further ado, I introduce you to Alice Namuli. Okay, so you grew up in Uganda. Mm-hmm. You lived there pretty much your whole life, mm-hmm. but you have traveled a lot. Mm-hmm. So you have a really interesting sort of insight into the world, mm-hmm. right? Because you've sort of seen,
many faces, many people, many human beings and all that. But you know what? Something I want a solution. There are some things that are itching me right now, and it's actually how do we avert the train wreck that the youth are on right now. And there's so many things that are puzzling me, and I'm just thinking, what do we do?
Yeah.
When after we just spoke now, I'm just thinking, this is actually one of the things. Of course, what the biggest issue right now, everyone thinks is the cause of the whole mental health
Yeah.
issues with the youth is technology, right?
Yep.
Overuse of
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah.
But what you've just said is also very true about how we actually live.
Yeah. Just completely cut off from nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the other day I was so happy when we were at Pinery and when we were camping, just to hear those birds, to see them, it excited me so
Yeah.
much. It made me so happy
Yeah.
to hear the birds
Yeah.
because it had warmed up and then they had come out and then we saw the squirrels. Earlier on, Neil told me that I didn't see it, but there was a rabbit walking
Yeah.
around and the rabbit was coming. But I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, things are coming out, but just hearing them, it's so nice. Now you're freaking me out because you just think the whole day you don't know what's going outside.
Yeah.
Then you get into your car, then you
Yeah.
go into an indoor space,
Yeah.
you work out from there or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you come back home. You're not a balanced human being. So over time, definitely you're going to go off balance.
Yeah.
Something is going to tip.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
before you know
I
it,
kind of think of it as like a connectedness that we, and I noticed that when we were in Uganda, I had a conversation with one of the teachers about like people don't commit suicide in Uganda, even though their lives are hard.
hard.
People don't commit suicide, and she says, well, it's because we are so connected to everyone. We're so connected to so many different people. We have so many people that we're close to, that we see every single day, that help us when we feel down and give us a reason to keep going. And I feel like that's something that in North America, we have no connectedness to other people or to nature. We're just completely disconnected. We're in our own little bubbles, in our own little houses, in front of our own little screens, and it's just not good for us.
Like over like generation and generation, something
Yeah.
is going to let go.
Yeah.
And clearly, this generation of young people are
Yeah.
suffering more.
Yes.
I mean, we've always had mental health issues
Yeah.
over the years, but why has it accelerated?
Yeah.
Definitely, there's the use of technology, but what you've just said makes a lot of sense. I'm just thinking, how do you live in this? No air coming in. So since morning
Yeah.
up to now, you're just breathing air for yesterday.
Yes.
Anyway, but what's the solution? That's the truth. What's the
Because the
solution?
thing is, I don't think that people even think of that as a problem. Like it's considered a good thing in Canada to have a completely airtight house that has no air coming in from outside. Like, as I told you, like my mother, she does not want air from the outside coming in because she has allergies and she doesn't want access to pollen. But also, there's all sorts of research that says the less you're exposed to pollen, the more allergies you have. So it kind of like, it snowballs, right? The more we shelter ourselves from the real world, the less we're able to function in the real world. The more of a bubble we're in, the more of a bubble we need to be in.
Now you're talking about allergies.
Yeah.
So in the kids' schools, this is, I think, I don't know, maybe also private schools, it happens. But public schools, you're not allowed peanuts
Yeah,
or something.
exactly.
And I'm just thinking, but peanuts are one of the healthiest foods
Yeah.
we have as human beings.
Yeah,
Like long time ago, long time ago, I would say like back in Africa, this is something you just pick and actually you
Yeah.
can eat them raw, you can
Yeah.
eat them half cooked, you can eat them.
yeah. I remember seeing them drying in the sun all over the ground when
like,
we were in
they're
Uganda.
so healthy. So if you take them out of human diet,
Yeah,
just because everyone is allergic to them, there's always someone who is allergic to them. So then you're not allowed to take them to
it's
school.
funny though that they still don't let you have them in school because that was based on research from years ago that said if a kid has a peanut allergy, they should not be exposed to it. But recently they've completely changed it and they said, oh, actually, if you have an allergy to peanuts, you should be exposed to it in teeny tiny little amounts.
Yeah,
and gradually increase.
There's a friend
and
of
then,
there's a friend of Zabo who. Neil, which grade is he? The fifth grade. No, Zab is in fourth grade, but this child is in fifth grade. But he had an allergy, and guess how he's dealing with it now? Every single day, he's exposed to one peanut. He takes one peanut a day, I think.
Yeah.
One of each nut.
Huh.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So that's how he's dealing with the allergy.
Yeah. And so his body will start to develop a tolerance for it, and then he won't be so deathly allergic to it anymore.
So at first there was research which said do not touch them.
Yeah.
Now
They've realized that was the worst advice they could have given, and that's why so many kids are so deathly allergic to peanuts now, is because they're not getting exposed to it. So it's kind of a fine line. They need to be exposed to it in small enough amounts that their body can learn how to deal with it, and then it won't be so dangerous for them.
Okay, but then, so you take out peanuts, which is actually a very healthy food.
Yeah.
With very good source of nutrition. Then guess what is introduced? Gummies.
Yeah, exactly.
Who wants a
Twinkie.
Snack? Oh yes, there's this, there's that, and you're just thinking,
It's
no
all
way.
all processed foods.
Like, kids are given sweets for doing well.
Everything. They're given sweets for
In school.
everything. We go to the bank. Do you want a candy? We go to the grocery store. Do you want a candy?
You take out peanuts at the whole school. Like, you cannot have peanut in the
Yeah.
school. A very good source of
Healthy fats and
yeah,
all that sort of protein
vitamins and all these
yeah.
things. But guess what? Yeah, bring in all that crap. Bring in all these I don't know what energy bars that have a lot of artificial everything and color and sweeteners. You're just thinking. And another thing actually I realized, they provide food or snacks for kids who are not able to afford lunch or something.
Do
like
they?
that.
Okay.
However, you're not in public school, so you wouldn't understand what's in the bin. At first, of course, these kids were like, well, it's exciting, there's extra snacks. First of all, I told them, that's unfair that you take those snacks or that food, because we pack for you lunch. So can you leave it at least for people who can't afford, a meal? Anyway, they stopped getting them. But the time when they were picking them, you were wondering, oh my good Lord, no. You seriously can't have a budget to bring them peanuts because that's healthy. But the food the food they give to these kids, it's just unhealthy. So yes, you're trying to give a child a meal, but at the same time you're destroying them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what is really, really puzzling me is that this whole world is very, very civilized. The technology, the advancement, everything is. But why have we failed in the Western world to figure out, to understand food and what actually it does to our body, how it has, what the impact it has to our body? Because in Africa, food is medicine. That's it. Like, from what you eat, because everything you eat it's pretty much not processed.
Yeah.
So that means you're not going to end up in the pharmacy, you're not going to end up in the doctors, at the doctor. But also we don't have a system where you're, what they call it, you have, you're mandated. It's not like mandated. I'm also thinking actually here, your health insurance here, people feel like I need to go to the doctor anytime, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But because we don't have it there, I mean, it's there, but it's not as good.
And it's expensive. You have to pay for it, right?
The good services, you have to pay for them.
Yeah.
Actually, most of the health services is privatized.
Yeah.
So the government one it's overcrowded and very poor service. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So people actually don't go to doctors. People usually survive on herbs or just pretty much the environment. But the lifestyle, I've been trying to compare the two. The lifestyle is completely different. So one lifestyle prevents you actually from going to the doctor. Whether you want it or not, you just prevent. Because from the time you wake up, as soon as you wake up, no child stays in the house.
Yeah.
You're outside.
Yeah.
Everything you do it outside.
Yeah.
Two, how do you play? You play with very little plastic.
Yeah.
You play with very little toys.
Yeah.
And then you're in touch with the ground. So very few kids, you're going to find as soon as they get onto the playground, there are no shoes.
Yeah.
That's if they can afford the shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But of course, others who can't afford the shoes, then they just walk around. So you have this connection with
the
nature,
earth. Yeah.
with earth, which is constantly, it's like charging you. You understand?
Yeah.
You're a balanced human being because nature, you're in tune with, your whole cycle is in tune with nature. From morning, but remember also, of course, the weather helps, the sun.
Yeah.
So meaning whether you even have food, like you put in a lot of food, you don't actually have to eat a lot of food because nature generally just takes care of you. When you eat the food, it might not be a lot of food. You're not going to have a whole like buffet of food, but you're going to eat food which is also first of all not processed, but right from the ground.
Yeah.
Like as you get it from the ground. It's
You
like,
just went and picked it yourself.
You just went and picked it. So we don't
It's still alive
preserve
when you
food
eat it.
for 6 months. I find the bread
Yeah.
we buy, it's for a month on
Yeah.
the shelf.
When you home make bread, it's only good for a day or two. But you buy this stuff from the grocery store, and it's good for a month. I even remember in Uganda, we were at a place once where they were trying to serve a lot of people, and they ran out of chicken. And so back behind the kitchen, someone was butchering a chicken.
Exactly.
So that they could supplement the meal with, like, that is how close to alive our food was.
Like the food is literally just close from its source.
Yeah.
You get it from the source and you know we have
Whereas
it on the
here,
plate.
our food is nowhere near where it came from. Everything travels from it. I mean, in our house, we eat probably half of our food we grow ourselves. But even then,
because you moved away from the mainstream.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're not in that our cycle, definitely.
Yeah.
You're the human beings who are going to, what they call it, you've heard of the story in the Bible about Noah and Noah's Ark.
Noah's Ark, yeah.
You're the people who are going to survive.
Fingers crossed.
The people going on the ship who are like, which is going to survive. I mean, it's anyway. So I'm just thinking, what's the plan? What is it that how is it possible that you're able to figure out so many things, so many, like, seriously everything, and like, look at just very simple things like garbage collection, like, everything comes out on time. There's so many researchers to analyze, okay, how do we collect, how do we process it, how do we recycle this, but then no one is thinking of the cycle of your health from the time you wake up in the morning. Is there a healthy human being in this country who wakes up in the morning, goes about their day, and does not need, at the end of the day, doesn't need medication? Do you understand? Like, is it possible to have that kind of research whereby what is it that is causing people actually to, your pharmacies, my good Lord, they're full of everything, like every drug in the world.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Don't you find it interesting? Like back in Uganda, you find people walking around, but then our pharmacies hardly have anything.
Yeah, they're quite small.
They're so small.
Yeah.
You walk in and you're wondering, is this a pharmacy or like a corner
Yeah.
store?
Yeah. And then you go to a Shoppers Drug Mart, and it's bigger than a grocery store in Uganda.
Exactly. Like, how do you explain that? So meaning the pharmacies, they've tapped into the system and they know how to make money out of this whole system. They know how to make money out of humans. But unfortunately, the pharmacies don't cure. The medicine that is in the pharmacy, it's not for cure.
No.
Because
For treating, but not curing.
It treats the symptoms.
Yeah.
Yes, you're going to get something, and then you
This
feel
will make
better,
you feel better.
and then you're able to go back to work and contribute to the machine, right? But then there's no solution. What's the cause? There's no treatment for the cause.
Yeah.
But that cause, what causes all these illnesses? What causes all these allergies? What is causing all this anxiety? What is causing this all this? I generally feel like lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
When you talk about how we are completely here disconnected from nature, it is very, very alarming. I told you I was in Uganda in January. That's when I actually noticed the difference, because I remember I used to visit and then would go away. So it's not a very... I wouldn't stay for a very long time to really understand, the major differences.
Yeah, you were always sort of an outsider observing, but now you're actually living the North
here.
American life.
So, and then I moved out and then went into, the middle of a tropical world. And from the time you wake up, what you hear. So there's the rhythm. Your body is on a rhythm of the earth. You understand? Like, You wake up. First of all, you're woken up by the
birds wake you
kokoryoko,
up. Yeah.
By the what?
The birds. Yeah.
No, the hen, the chicken. No,
Oh,
sorry,
the rooster. Yes. Dude, my rooster started at 3 a.m. Is that what time your rooster started?
Yes.
Oh my
Which
god.
is so annoying. I woke up and then I had kokoryoko. I was like, oh my god, and it was so loud.
Sorry, what's the Uganda word for rooster?
Uh,
Is it the sound he makes?
Yeah, like it's people will say all manner of things, but it's nkoko. Like there's a real word for it, nkoko.
Yeah.
Nkoko impang.
Yeah, which is what he
But you
says.
can just but then while you're speaking the language, you're like, oh my good lord, I was the kokoryoko. It's like because it's the mix that's saying kokoryoko. Like,
Yeah,
kokoryoko. Like,
perfect.
oh god. Like it woke me up. And you're like, how does that even happen? Like, why does this thing make noise? Why? It's like, okay, guys, it's almost time to wake up. Anyway, then after that, the birds, they are also so loud.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about it's just a rhythm. Then you wake up and then there's wind, you understand, which is just also getting into your house. As soon as, of course, you open up every African house. That's the first thing.
Yeah. And you don't have any screens on your windows in Uganda, right? Like they just, you open the window and it's open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything comes in.
Yeah.
All the bags, all
Yeah.
the flies.
Yep.
So there's life in actually the house.
Yes.
Another
Whereas
thing
here, we
noticed
don't
here-
want life in our house. We do everything possible to keep nature out of our houses.
Yeah, so if we sat here, if we left this here for the next most of the, 30 minutes and we go, there'll be bugs.
Yes.
Yeah, there'll be bugs on this. You can't leave this out because
No.
there's going to be bugs.
Yeah.
So our houses, we live with nature.
Yes.
So you have bugs, you have flies, you have mosquitoes, you have everything
Ants.
is there.
I remember
Ants.
having an entire army of ants march through my kitchen because Abby spilled some sugar
Yes,
on the floor.
Exactly. So just leave sugar here.
Yeah.
You see this spill? Yeah. There will be ants everywhere. There will be also, surviving.
Yeah.
So in Africa, you're part of the ecosystem
Yeah.
of nature, of earth.
Yeah.
While the trees are thriving, you're also part of the tree. You hear them, how they are, the sound they make, the leaves, and then the rhythm when you're walking actually on the ground. Do you understand? Because you're so close to the ground, and when you sit down in the grass, then you actually take off your shoes. So that also gives you a completely different energy.
Yeah. But here it's nothing. People
No.
don't see any.
First of all, if Neil told me that people here, they find that you're walking in feet, they're like,
Yeah,
are you
that's a
okay?
bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's free medicine from the earth
Yeah.
because it just balances you. So you guys have completely disconnected yourself from everything free to the pharmacy, which provides for you all the vitamins. So you know very well that you can get this from the soil, you can get this from, either even snow. As I would get out, I remember like during in January when it was kind of intense, going out in the snow in feet and just standing in the
You
snow.
went in the snow in your bare feet?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Or sitting in it.
Yeah.
Somehow you just feel rejuvenated.
Yeah.
You feel your body feels excited.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me, it's a very common thing in the Nordic countries
Yeah.
where they have what they
Yeah.
call
They'll go into the
cold
sauna and then they'll
baths.
go into the snow. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they do it. So just that, but I'm in feet and then just walking on, because it's just so beautiful. It's fresh snow, then you go walking around in the compound. Yeah, for like 5 minutes and then you come back in.
Yeah.
But then you come back and your body's like happy.
I'm alive.
Yes. So I don't have to wear anything. No, I don't have to warm up.
Yeah.
It's just like I could go out like this.
Yeah.
Or in a like a leotard, or
Yeah.
I'm sure in the Nordic countries you just use a swimming costume.
Yeah.
There are simple things actually which you could do to survive here. I'm not saying that you have to move in a place with a warm weather to be outside. No. And that's actually also one of the things that really make me happy to see here is when we go out in nature for camping, that there's so many Canadians who love the outdoor, despite the fact that yes, there's also this kind of life,
Yeah.
but there are people actually who use your nature very, very well.
There
Because
are, yeah.
most of your camping sites are always fully booked. Like
Yeah.
you have to book way in
In
advance.
advance, yeah.
But I feel now so let me say your population is like, let me say 40 million or 50 million, whatever it is. I feel like then that is like the minority.
Yes, it's a small number. And increasingly, like when I was younger, when people went camping, it was intense. And now, more and more, it's in these great big RVs that have a TV and an air conditioner. And so even then, when they go camping, they're still sort of locked away in an entirely controlled environment. And then they'll step outside for a little bit, you know, to go down to the river or go fishing or go for a hike or whatever. But even when they go camping, they bring their luxury with them.
But every time I'm like, when I'm going for a hike or something, I look at these human beings and I'm like, I get you. And I'm like, I understand you. And I'm like, I'm so glad you're actually doing this. Because to me, it freaks me out. I'm like, I'm glad that, because I know also there are people who just don't get out of their houses. As when they get out of the house, they get into the car, they go to in an office, which is exactly like this. Complete their day, go to the gym, like everything you're indoors. But when I go out on those hikes, I'm like, oh my God, there's hope. There's hope for the human race here.
Yeah.
Seriously. but that's, I feel now that's the minority.
Yeah.
So if it's like percentages, maybe that should be like then 20%.
But I also feel like it's sort of, in our world, we've made it easy to live. It is easy to live a less healthy life. You have to go out of your way. You have to make effort to try and
But the
be
healthy
out
life
in
is
nature.
the simplest and the cheapest. It's
In
not
theory,
expensive.
In theory, yeah.
It's not expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not expensive. Okay, now letting in air, like the draft I tell you, what I do every morning, every day. Everyone says that's going to be expensive on the
Yeah, it'll run your electricity bill up, yeah.
But then I don't have the bill for the pharmacy.
Yeah. So to you, it makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes sense. I'm not going to get like a chronic, I already have, if you have like, let me say, inflammation, it's just going to go up. If you have any body, because we have chronic diseases, we have genetic diseases, things that have been passed on to you, whether you were born here, or you were born in Hawaii, or you were born in Japan. But everything just gets heightened or increased because of the lifestyle you live, right?
Yeah.
So to me, I'm just thinking, we've had actually Zabo, who is asthmatic, flare up more here. Remember when we were at the farm, everything had disappeared here.
Yeah.
So for me, circulation is actually very important.
Yeah.
But he flares up because whenever he catches a cold, like from school or forever, whatever he's been exposed to, then you have to use an inhaler, which we had completely put away.
Yeah.
Because, of the kind of life we're living on the farm. But now I'm just thinking, what could be the solution? Because you can't tell me that. I think after this was okay for the past generations because they were strong human beings. These people, had gone. I feel like the boomers, the people, you understand, we've gone through so much, wars, a lot of, moving up and down. So those kind of human beings were really, really strong human beings. And they survived through this. But then they've been giving birth to children who, over the years, you're having weaker human beings. So what's going to happen? Then you get to a point whereby they can't actually survive. Because this kind of lifestyle is not new.
Yeah,
so
luxury.
Why is it?
Yeah,
why is it affecting humans now?
I think the more luxuries we get, because luxury sort of makes you lazy and makes you weak and makes you, the easier your life is, the harder your life is, the stronger you become. And I think we're several generations into fairly easy lives now, and so we don't really know how to be strong because we haven't really had to.
Yeah. So it's that. Okay. It also goes back to, I think we've had this conversation before about how the body weakens if it, maybe our system forgets to do certain things because we've not done them.
Because we haven't done it.
Then, I feel like we've had this conversation about C-sections.
Yeah.
Like if your mother didn't
Yeah.
push, didn't have a natural birth,
Yes.
rarely would you be able to
Yeah.
And it happened to me.
Yeah.
So if I had a girl, it would be definitely also a C-section.
Yeah, you think so?
Because the gene, my mother's body pushing. I think the body forgot that.
Right.
Like the
so
natural.
were you a C-section baby?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
For both of them.
Yeah. No, I know that both of your boys were C-sections,
Yeah.
but were you born naturally?
Actually, my mother had 3 C-sections, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, so I'm just thinking, meaning if I was to have a girl.
Then she probably
She would
not
yeah.
be able to.
She wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that.
Well, I
gene
mean, that's a
that
pretty
pain, her
Yeah.
body.
But also, that's just like the most obvious evolutionary thing. Like if you die during childbirth, then you don't pass on that gene.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that's true. That is so true.
Whereas C-sections intervene in evolution and mean that women who couldn't naturally give birth, who previously would have died during childbirth, now they're passing on whatever gene it is that makes it difficult to give birth.
So then you have human beings who should not have survived.
Yeah.
They are also.
Don't feel bad. I also wouldn't have survived. I am also someone who evolution would have
just
removed from the gene pool. Don't worry.
Like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So I guess now that's pretty much the same thing of how, what is happening to our brains. Yesterday you mentioned it, and people who used to write like 10 years ago, like the kind of things we used to write then.
I used to be so much smarter than I am now.
Now you freaked me out. I need to look at the things that I
Go
I
back
used
and
to,
read some of your old work.
Because I used to do a lot of submissions because I used to be do a lot of litigation I used to. In Uganda you can be both a barrister and a solicitor.
Okay.
So I moved away from that. I'm now only doing solicitor work. Yeah, but these kind of you write submissions like this thick like. And it's quite intense, right? But now I'm thinking, with the kind of brains we have that has been like fogged, like overwhelmed with technology.
Yeah.
Are you able to write like that anymore?
Yeah.
And also, remember the research was very like manual. Do you understand? You go to a library, you sit down, you write notes.
Yeah.
You first write notes, like have a draft. Here, you can have like the finest draft on the first.
Yeah.
The first time you write something, you have like a very good draft because ChatGPT has given you this information.
So we don't even have to think about how to put it together anymore.
Yes,
the computers will do it for us.
Yes, yet before, you'd come up with you'd have like notes and then you write with your, you write with your hand.
Yeah.
And remember you have to go to the library and sort out, oh my goodness, which book then, compare this and this. Can you imagine? That is all gone.
Yeah.
And then you read this book, and you're not reading the whole book, but because you're looking for a specific research, you're looking for, and we use your quote. You have to quote when you're writing these submissions. It's all gone now, because now it's a click of a button. Chop, 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 chop. Copy, paste.
Yeah.
And you're done. And I need to read my work.
And remind yourself of how smart you are.
Because I think it does make sense. If I was to write something now like that intense, to write those kind of submissions, I think they'll be completely different. Like I said, first of all, the information, 80% of the information you get it online. So and I feel like the 20% of the information, it has to come from you. Why does it come from you? Or is it 20% or 80%? It's actually 20% because you're the one to come up with the outline of how you'd want, whatever you're writing, to look like.
Yeah.
And I feel like now that's the creativity the human being is going to retain. Meaning you can't use AI 100%.
Yeah.
There has to be how you arranged your work. Even though you're looking for research on Google, how you arranged it, that's the authenticity. But it's only 20%.
Right.
Yet before it was 100%.
Yeah.
It was 100%, everything was yours. Now it's like, this is how I would want this, if it's a book, I would want, the first part of the book to talk about this. No other human being can copy that because it's you who wants it that way. And then after that, then you can bring in, AI. What is AI saying about this thing, this particular topic? How about the other topic? Okay, what did the podcast say about that? Anyway.
Yeah. Here's my thing I've been thinking about recently. We've got all this technology and it allows us to do, so say before you had to write this big proposal, now AI can do 80% of the work for you. So you're able to do it that much faster. And I think the idea in theory was that it would give us more free time. But instead what it does is means that we're now just doing so much more work than we were before. So even if people want to do it the old way, it takes more time. And we're expected to do things at this increased speed that technology allows us to do things at. So a person who wants to do it 100% themselves now does not have the amount of time to do it in, because we've expected
to be left behind. No one is going to hire you.
Yeah, we've expected to increase our productivity so dramatically that now we not only do we not have the brains to do it anymore, we also don't have the time.
I think we should have the brains, because we still have the same brain, but we don't have the time, because you're competing with people who are able to. Can you imagine a lawyer telling you that, oh, sorry, I'll get back to you in maybe. You could be asking for a very simple, like opinion from the lawyer, and they're like, oh, sorry, I need to carry out research. I'll get back to you in a month. Yeah. You're like, dude, I'm moving on to the next one. Yeah. Of course, you're going to hire the next guy who is going to be able to give you something maybe in the next couple of days. You understand? Because they're like, okay, they will have the information is there, but they need to confirm this like on ground, and because that's actually the reason why lawyers are still in business. So there's information out there. Like if you want any contract here, you can just put in whatever information and ChatGPT will give you perfectly nice drafted contract. But then, meaning you don't have to go to actually a lawyer. But then what happens is that things keep changing, on ground. Like you could be here and you're told, in Uganda, you can contract under this law, or you're allowed, two parties can be able to contract and, under this kind of terms and conditions. But then you find actually most probably the law changed two days ago or a week ago, or there's like now an internal policy, or the regulator has changed something. So now as the lawyers bring in that, how can I say, that's now our value of double checking things. You understand, like the human being at the end of it. Yes, you have a very good contract, but then you need actually a lawyer tell you that, this is actually still the law. Yeah. Or this is actually, they're going to change it. Or in Parliament this morning, this is pretty much what happened. And also the other thing is we read patterns. You would have an idea what a certain judge how they would most probably make a decision, because from their previous decisions. You're also able to read the human cues, like how they behave, their behavior. Yeah. If someone is actually lying, like for example, recently we got instructions from a gold refining something. Okay. And so the client was a German client who got our contacts, someone from South Africa who from our network, our law firm network. So they reached out to us and they said, we have, there's a client, someone who wants to sell to their client, gold from the Congo. Already when someone says gold is coming from the Congo, AI wouldn't even know the complications of getting gold from the Congo. Because if the gold is coming from Zambia, you're like, okay, fair enough. Maybe you don't even have to scrutinize the parties. Gold from Congo, you just know, red flag. That's the first thing. Yeah. As in, from Congo going through Uganda, it was supposed to go to Dubai. Then the guy who is the middleman, there are so many middlemen in this whole business. The middleman was not able to take calls. To have calls, you could only call him on WhatsApp. Okay. So there are things you're like, why? Is your number blocked? Are you the police looking for you? 2, We asked him to set up meetings, physical meetings. He kept on not dodging the meetings. This means that this is someone who is in another gold scam, who is, being tracked by the police.
Right.
Hey, I can't give you this information. You go
Right.
and say, I want a gold agreement.
Yeah.
Please draft one for me.
And
Yeah,
the
what
AI
are the
would
parties?
just do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
AI will give you a very good one, but it will be like there's just so much on ground that you wouldn't know. And for us as lawyers, because you know exactly, you're like, by the time gold crosses from Congo to Uganda, trust me, there's already some mafias.
Yeah.
Then the real gold is actually there, but there's also a lot of fake gold. So meaning, and actually another mistake people do is that would want you, the middleman kept on saying, we would want you, the lawyers, to confirm that this is actually real gold. Me as a lawyer, as Alice Namoli Blazovich, how can, of course I will look at it and say, yeah, that's gold. But you understand, I don't have anything that tests.
Right.
Yeah. So there's an office which is designated for that. But guess what? As soon as the real gold goes in, it's a business for mafias. There are people outside waiting with the fake gold. So meaning, yes, the real gold is certified.
Gets certified, but that's not what makes
that's
it to
not
the
what
next
makes
person.
it to the airport. That's
Right.
not what makes it whatever. So you get there. So you as the lawyer, you're completely,
Yeah. So you didn't take that client.
screwed. Of course not. Because you read the patterns in there and just say, okay. So we advise that. But also the person
Common
who was,
sense. AI doesn't have common sense.
it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not able to also to read, and then also the profile of the guy, the profile of the middleman. For us, we've gone through all these things for so many years, and you can just tell your client, please don't waste your time, because this is exactly how it's going to. This is how it's going to end.
Yeah.
You can sense fraud from afar.
Yeah. Life
because-
experience. You've had life experience.
Exactly. So it's the experience that now gets the value we bring on board. Yeah.
What do you think makes you such a good lawyer?
Oh, me?
Yeah. Because you're good. You're like renowned around all of Africa, aren't you?
Oh my God. I guess experience.
Yeah.
I've been at it for 22 years.
Yeah.
That's one. But before the experience, some of the things that I usually share with young lawyers, for me was earlier on I realized whenever I'm dealing with someone, I enjoy mutual relationships. Meaning, if you come to me as Erin and like, oh, Alice, I need this, I have this legal issue. I go beyond your legal issue. I would want to know more about Erin. Who is Erin? I get to know your family. I get to understand your personal issues, this aside from your legal issue. And then I would want you to be, I would want you to thrive, not only just with this small issue. I'm like, I would want you to thrive. And because if you thrive, then actually I also thrive. So I usually get very, I wouldn't say personal. I wouldn't say that I get into their private life, but I get to know the client more. And so I build longer relationships with clients, long-term relationships. So meaning for me, it's not transactional, like, oh, Erin came to me and had this issue and, bye. No. It's more of, so what do you do? Then we'll have a chat, then we'll have a coffee, then you'll tell me about your past life, that kind of most. Usually then clients, for one reason or the other, many people hate lawyers until they sort them out, right? Over an issue.
Yeah.
But at the same time, many people trust lawyers.
Yeah.
So they're, I think, willing to share the information. Because when you think about it, if I go to a doctor, I rarely share my, like, I can tell them, of course, I have this kind of case, this is what I'm doing. But I just feel like he doesn't have time for me.
Yeah, he doesn't care to know you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I try to know more my clients. That's actually a very good one you've said. So that has helped me to build a big, client base.
People come back to you.
They come back to you, but also they refer you. And the biggest opportunities, you get them behind closed, where you're not, like in rooms where you're not. But this particular person, because you shared some information about them, or you solved something for them. Like you could come to me for a legal matter, and then you're like, I can recommend an insurance, a certain insurance, company for you. I could solve you could want to build a house, a tiny house, and they're like, oh, by the way, I know this contractor who is able to do this for you. Something of that sort. Like I add value to your life. So when you go in other spaces, then you actually also refer me, that is one of the ways I grew my clientele. The other one was through, I joined different networks outside my workplace at a very young age. And they developed me outside my work. Like, because when you're a young lawyer, you go into office, you do all the work, you're given, right? So when you're young, there's very little space for you to develop your other gifts as a human being, because I was just not born to be a lawyer. I feel like there's so many other things that, as you know, hospitality. I like, doing entrepreneurial things. But then now being, like, for example, in Rotary or in other spaces helped me to grow. So that growth also boosted it kind of like boosts your profile, because people outside trust you with all manner of, responsibilities. So then they also recommend you, they recommend you in, like spaces that you couldn't even imagine that you'd ever be. And so there's growth on both sides. So I went to Rotary, and then also volunteering for, like, for example, Law Society, so there's our Law Society within Uganda, then there's a Law Society within East Africa. So you were talking about how I get known outside Uganda. So they have the International Bar Association has, like, lawyers all over the world.
Yeah.
So you serve on different committees.
Okay.
And then those people actually send you clients. Someone, you could meet them at a meeting, they're from Australia, and then they need a client in they need help with their client who wants to move to Africa,
right,
or something of that sort. Yeah.
So you're very good at networking. That's a big part of why you're successful. Yes. So why'd you decide to be a lawyer? Was it because your dad was a lawyer?
That's a very good question. No. I thought yes, but definitely had a very big influence. Yeah. And I at first I was like, it didn't have much of an impact on my career, but it did. It was a very humble pill it wasn't being humble, but it was a reality check. Yeah. How did I know that it actually influenced me a lot? When you grow up with so I grew up with lawyers. Then of course, I already had lawyers in the family, cousins, brothers, then of course my father, and then my father's friends. So you grow up, and my father would take us to, his friends. So you grow up, you're mentored unconsciously. Yeah. So when you go to class, you just know exactly what to look out for. But even the jargon, you have an idea of what the legal jargon is. You know how much reading is going to you're required to do. So your expectations, you're not blank. But it's not that my father sat us down and said, you're supposed to be a lawyer, you should do this and this. No, it's just learning from how he used to do things. Even very simple things on dress code. Yeah, because by the time you go to law school, you know how lawyers should dress. So it doesn't even bother you at all. Yeah. I do remember that, lawyers touch, like there's that inner thing.
The collar.
Yeah, which you have to starch. Yeah. Long time ago, they used to actually use starch, but now they make some which are kind of like, you don't have to.
They're rigid.
Yeah, you don't have to starch them, because you needed, it had to be like straight. Like without any crease.
Like the British do that too, right? The British have a...
Yeah. It's for us, it's a very colonial thing. Yeah. But what they wear, the colors they wear, you can't miss on that. Like you can't just wake up and you're wearing like a bright red suit,
Yeah.
or rather purple suit going to court. You just know. So you've been mentored from age 0. And I didn't know that at all. To me, I was thinking I have the same cards. Like we've all been dealt the same cards. We're all in law school. No, I had an advantage.
You did.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
it was. I felt bad actually.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness. I was actually not bad. I was feeling guilty. I'm like, oh my God, this is unfair. Because you go into class, you go into law school, and you already have things in your mind. But no one sat you down, Erin.
Yeah.
No one.
It's just sort of common sense to you from
Yes, because you
seeing
have
it.
seen
Yeah.
your father or the people around you or his friends, how
Yeah.
they behave.
Whereas I know absolutely nothing about the legal
Yeah, but-
profession because I don't know any lawyers. I've never needed a lawyer. You're the only
So
lawyer I know.
how did I know this? This is much later. I was,
Yeah.
volunteering in Law Society. And this lady who I thought, oh my goodness, things should have been easy for you. She said the first time she met a lawyer was when she left law school.
Whoa.
I was like, oh my God, how is that even possible? Like, where do you even start?
Yeah.
I knew exactly the kind of law firms that are like good, the excellent ones, the ones which, yeah. So even when I was applying for a position, I just didn't go around.
You already knew
I knew exactly.
who not to waste your time
Exactly.
with. Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
It's like cheating.
Yeah.
But then there's a backhand to it, or like a double-edged sword. Is that as soon as people know that you've been in that thing, people are harsh to you. They are horrible to you.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
But do
Because-
people know your father specifically?
Yeah, because reason is because my father was once the Minister of Justice.
Right.
He was once the Attorney General of Uganda,
Yeah.
and his law firm was among the 4 law firms, best law
So
firms
that's
in
a
the country.
big reputation.
Yes, and I had very, very big shoes to
Yeah.
fill. Very, very, very big shoes. And so actually I remember leaving law school and everyone's like, why aren't you working with your father? Because to me I was like, he's so big, like I can't fit in his shoes.
You'd just be in the
I
shadow.
wanted to be exactly. I wanted to be to have my own personality
Yeah.
come out, and how I do things completely different. So what I realized later, that to me I was like, I need also something completely different. I felt like, okay, I know exactly how he works. He was very what do I call it? He was very, very principled human being. Like
Okay.
things, if he gives you his word, he has, you understand, to
Right.
act on it. And so there are things, of course, you've learned from him, but I wanted, a completely different training, and that's why I went to a completely different law firm, and I knew exactly, because it was also one of the 4 best law firms in the country. But when you now looking back, so in school, when people find out that, oh, okay, of course, definitely your father is. And to me, I was just thinking, no, but we're all students. Like, why would you think? But the truth of the matter is that you have then access to law books, you have access to the statutes.
Yeah.
So
And you can also ask him for advice.
exactly.
And he
And
probably
his
can
friends,
be very,
if he's
very
not
good
able
advice.
to actually whatever. Yeah. So
Yeah.
later, I've told you this for me happened much, much later. Actually, when I went into leadership, all these things, you would hear people say those kinds, but to me, my head think why would you even say something of that sort? Anyway, later, when I was running for president, for our law society. So that's when, because people there are they are happy to. It's like you're going to the public to ask for a vote, right? So people can be as mean as possible. Everyone was like, she's had a golden plate. In my head, I'm like, which golden plate was it? So I try to ask people, and they're like, Alice, you don't know that you had a golden spoon.
Yeah, that's it.
I said, which golden spoon? Can you imagine? This is how blind I was.
Yeah.
Anyway, so later I also learned that if your father, for example, was like a musician, right?
Yeah.
It becomes much easier because all you've been listening to is music, whether you like to be a musician or not.
Yeah.
So if you try to be a musician, most times actually, if you flop, because the whole world is like, you've just been given a word.
Yeah.
a golden spoon, so don't waste our time. Isn't that weird? Like if your father has been like a doctor or whatever, if he's been a carpenter, so you have to prove yourself like 20 times more than
well, they call when it comes to actors, they call them nepo babies. Nepo short for nepotism. And a lot of the time what they say is that, like, yes, who my parents are gets me the job. But if I suck at the job, that's it. I'm never working again. Like, you can, it does give you an advantage, but that advantage only gets you so far.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But I think your father gave you an advantage, but there were also some disadvantages.
There are disadvantages, and you don't know this, but the advantages for me, I thought, is like it opened so many doors for me. Because why does it open so many doors for you? Because it depends on the kind of person who he was. He had done so much also with the kingdom.
A lot of people respected him.
Yes. Yeah. So because he was also kind and nice to so many people, like so many doors just opened for you. And that's actually something I realized. It's human nature. The things that people like for example, God forbid anything happens to you and your children end up like in Africa. For me, it's the only thing I would have to do is definitely I have to take care of your children. Like in case something happens, because you've been so kind to us, you've been a nice human being to us, right? Even though it's not your children, your children's children. So you do all these good deeds, and somehow nature, the force of nature, it's like what? It's like some kind of compound interest. You understand? Over time, it compounds, and then you get actually good things.
Yeah.
So meaning you're a good person now, and your children will find the goodness. It might not be your children, but your children's children.
Right.
Yeah. That's exactly.
It's like your father was sowing the seeds of a good future for you.
He definitely through his deeds, because many spaces. Even when I went to Rotary, I was very young in that Rotary club, but this is a club which had like the people who were at the peak of their careers. Like they were ministers, they were like politicians, they were. We had the central bank governor of Uganda, and I was like 26 years old. So you're talking to people like in their 60s, like 70s. They've really done well. And remember, I don't even use my name. I don't use his name. I don't use my father's name. But somehow, because Uganda is very also small, Kampala is small, everyone knows. So you find this, so this is so-and-so's daughter. People are like, oh my goodness, your father did this and this for me. Oh, your father helped me out here. Oh, I did this with your father. Oh, some people, I don't think people had studied with him because he was much older. Yeah. By the time he had me, he was like, I think in his 50s. Okay. Yeah. That is how.
But you're the 15th kid?
I'm the 7th, but we're 15 kids.
But there are 15, yeah. Okay. So how old was he when the last one was born?
Oh my God. I think like 8. No. He must have been like, because my youngest brother is 33 and he should have been like 96. So
yeah, in his 60s then.
Yeah, in his 60s, yeah. You can imagine. That is how, and our eldest is like in his 60s, so you can imagine that's a big the gap here. So but we are grateful he took care of all of us very well. Yeah.
Was your father a good lawyer also because he had good people skills? Do you think
he was? For him, I think I remember during his eulogy and people who were writing things in the newspapers. Most of the people were praising him for he's a very principled human being. Yeah. Like in terms of he stood to his word. He was also very, very strict as a human being. Very, very strict. And it was more of like this is what I'm required to do, and I'm going to do it. Yeah. Most people kept on asking us how he survived what they call it?
The dictators?
The dictators.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Like, he must have had some serious people skills to be able to... Because Uganda had 2 different dictators that hated each other, and when they switched back and forth between them, they purged. But your father survived the purges.
Actually, people would meet me and wonder, your father is still alive?
Yeah.
How is that even possible? Yeah. Because he had... He served during Obote, our first prime minister, after the British government. Then we had Obote, we call it Obote 1, because he came back late after Idi Amin. Then he served under that government. He was a Solicitor General. Then after they became an Attorney General. Then when Idi Amin came in, it was a coup. So what does that mean? He just got rid of everyone. Either people left, went into exile, were executed, or you were put in prison to rot and die. But then he appointed him as his Minister of Justice.
Which is impressive.
But then to my father, in my father's explanation, he was like, he just followed the law. So later we found out what happened is Obote, the first prime minister, had asked him to write a legal opinion to arrest Idi Amin because he had become a very notorious army general.
Okay.
And people were telling him that, oh, by the way, this guy is growing
You need to be
wings.
worried about him.
You need to be worried about him. So it's like, we need to put him in prison. That is how African leaders get rid of what? Get rid of their
challengers.
Enemies. But then my father was like, but there's nothing in the law that requires this. So he actually wrote a letter to the president, the prime minister. He was the prime minister. Or later, this guy was the prime minister, and then he became the president. So anyway, so Idi Amin got a whiff of it, but he survived, so he was never arrested. And then when he came into power, he kept on telling my father, what they call it, you're an intelligent man, I need you literally on my cabinet. So that's how we got into cabinet. Yeah. And actually they said the first cabinet for Idi Amin was really, what he did, he got all these Cambridge scholars, educated people at that time in Uganda, and that was his first cabinet. After that, things just went haywire. Anyway, then they disagreed on the whole expulsion of Asians. So even then, my father, Idi Amin, asked him to write a legal opinion, because when you have, you need the strength, like a backup, of your legal advisor as a government to back you when you're doing something, whether it's legal or illegal.
Right.
But it can be justified by the law. So if it's justified by the law, then you're like, in our law, we have this. And so my father was like, there's no way that's possible. So one day he woke up and he had been replaced.
Oh, okay. But just replaced. Whew.
Yeah. And so everyone thought, oh my God, okay, he's been done with. He's been most probably, either he was taken in prison or he had escaped or killed. But no. To him, he felt like he hadn't done anything wrong. He actually gave the president the right advice, like, you cannot actually do this. There's nothing in the law that would allow you to do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he lost his job, and then he started a law firm after that. Yeah. He went into private practice.
Okay.
And that was
cool.
But when you think of he was also well trained, because he was one of those few lawyers who had the benefit of being trained in Cambridge.
Yes.
So I guess that gave him an advantage, and there were very few. They were literally just pick a few of them, so that helped.
It would have been a waste to have decapitated him.
Many people who disagreed with Idi Amin definitely
didn't survive.
No, they didn't at all. Either you had to leave the country, because when such a thing happened, you leave the country before he looks for you. But he didn't. Yeah. And that was always the question. So when so many people asked me that question, I went back to him. And he was like, I was just doing my job, I did my job. And he didn't. But also, it's also because, remember, he had survived, what do they call it? He had saved Idi Amin's back when Obote was still in, because he could have been arrested. That's now what most probably people think. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
So here's a slight change of subject. Growing up in Africa, where this sort of political history is quite recent and memorable.
It's not recent, by the way.
Well,
I was in Nepal, and someone told me this is how bad it is. I met someone in Pokora. It's like a very remote place away even from the city. So they said, "You're from Uganda." Oh, I know Uganda. I know Uganda. Your president, Idi Amin.
Like, it's been a while.
Like, are you okay? Like, that guy left like 50, 40 years ago. How can you even think that he's still our president here? So anyone who knows something about Uganda, the first thing is like, yeah, Idi Amin.
Yeah.
So it's not recent actually. Been and Neil, when I met Neil, it came out somehow. It's like, oh, you're a victim of war. I was very young, by the way.
Right.
So when all those things were going on. So by the time Museveni came on into power, I was like 7.
Okay.
So you can't remember much then. And I was also in a boarding school, by the way.
Right.
So I didn't have the whole experience of a war and So Neil thought I was
sort of sheltered a little bit.
I was very, very sheltered. Yeah. So Neil thought I was like, oh, poor you. You went. I didn't. Yeah.
But I wonder if it gives a bit of, so what's happening like in the States right now, so many people in North America are like, we didn't think this could happen here.
Oh my
because
God.
it's been such a long time
to any African,
that we've had reliable government.
To any African, you're like, oh yeah, welcome to our world.
Yeah,
this is how this is our life.
Like we've sort of been able to live in this kind of la land of rainbows and sunshine where your government is someone you can trust, and whereas I wonder if
clearly you were in La La Land.
Yeah.
Now this is the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is how we've lived. Our whole entire lives is dealing with human beings like this.
Yes.
Very unpredictable. The law is there. It's never followed. So yeah.
And then I wonder like how it affects the way you move through your day. Like I feel like most people in Uganda just didn't pay any attention at all to the government. They lived there. It was a different world.
Yeah.
They lived their day-to-day life, and it was really unaffected whatsoever by who was running the government.
Again, me being here, I'm trying as much as possible to analyze and compare the two worlds. Yeah. And because I've also met people, so many comments that, I've been in Africa, and people there are so happy. And also, when I went back, I just could not believe. It was just so evident. Because when you're there, you're like, yeah, of course everyone is happy, so is that something to talk about? No. Yeah. And also something very, very common. I don't know if you follow any African like YouTube channels. It's so easy to find a group of young kids dancing.
Yeah. Yes.
I've never seen Russian kids dancing. Like in the streets or just dancing without clothes or dirty or like, no. Like, how do you explain that? Yeah. Like, if you went and said kids dancing,
it'll be African kids. Yeah.
But they're very poor. Because actually the rich kids in Africa, they don't, you're not going to find them.
Well, you don't need any money to dance.
No, it's it's about dancing, but what I mean is that they're not going to, you're not going to just put them before a camera and tell them,
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like, you find like this could be like orphans, could be like street kids, but they find so much joy in dancing and singing and also just smiling. So to me, I was like, oh my God. So when I went back this time, I just realized people are just, when even you look in a market, because as keen to see the vibe on the road, people are in a completely different world. They're just not bothered with that. I like what you've said. They're completely disconnected to what the government. And I think what the government does every single day, because you get so angry about it. And you get to a point where it's like, you become helpless. Yeah. Because when you say something, you're going to end up in prison, or you're going to be beaten, you're going to be locked up. So people find a way of existing without being really bothered by
what those guys over there are doing.
Yeah. But also, so now my question, what I was trying to say is that, my question is that, is there something innate in Africans that make them to say, despite all whatever I'm going through, I'm happy. Yeah. Do you understand? Because it's something I'm trying to figure out. I actually asked ChatGPT.
Yeah. Why are Africans so happy?
Yeah, like why is it that? Because it's weird. Yeah. And
what did ChatGPT say?
I'm going to tell you. As I showed Neil a video of some ladies. they were planting coffee, and someone was taking a documentary about them. But they were smiling, they were showing like their coffee plantation, like, oh, now I planted. If was my life, I would not be happy. I would be like, don't take all your videos.
My back hurts, my feet hurt.
I'll just be complaining. Like you say, I even didn't sleep well. I'm like, I'll just be complaining. But this woman, she's elderly, like she's quite old, like, but she's happy. They're talking about her coffee. I was like, where do you get that? So I'm genuinely concerned, and I want to know, what is that? What? So despite all that, what has just actually happened in Uganda is that we had elections where the internet was switched off, and we had elections literally like in a blackout, basically.
Right.
Yeah, but despite all that, of course, it was so annoying and people were angry, but you still find people happy. Hello.
What's the voter rate? How many people actually go to if you feel a little bit powerless about the government? Is it got a pretty low voter turnout?
Of course, because why is the turnout very low? Because everyone just knows what the results are.
Yeah. Because he's going to win. Museveni's going to win no matter what.
No matter what you do. Whatever you do, you just know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's like the results are already written somewhere. So most people just don't bother.
Whereas here we all still sort of believe that what we have that we kind of have a say, and so as we realize that we don't have a say after all, everybody's really angry. Whereas Africans have sort of gone, oh, we don't have a say, we'll still be happy.
You have a say, and actually you have a say, so your elections reflect what you have chosen. That's good. But politicians worldwide are all the same. It's just that politicians in your country, they are polite. So politicians in Africa are raw. They are raw human beings that if they are to steal money, right, they will take the money and they can even tell you that I am going to take this money. Or they will steal the money and you'll know where the money is. There's no camouflaging of the corruption there. Here it is very sophisticated. Like for you to know that this money has even moved accounts and all the things. You find out, I don't know, I think a million layers later when the person has. But for us, it's every day. Yeah, because our leaders are like, I need that money from that account, move it from here. Like, it's...
they don't pretend to not be corrupt.
No. That's why Neil was asking, when Trump won, so many Africans were happy about it because they relate with that kind of leader. He looks
familiar.
Yeah, it's a leader. They're like, you speak and you speak open. You open about.
He says what he's going to do. He says what he thinks. Yeah.
No ifs or buts. It doesn't camouflage things. Like, I don't like you, I'm going to put you in prison. Yeah. They're not going to hide that.
So the fact that he just outright says, I hate Somalis.
Yeah.
You're just like, well, now I know who he is.
But you're so like yesterday I was telling you about. First of all, in Africa, there's nothing like, how can I explain it? Because everyone is really black, like they don't, if you're a white person, you're a white person.
Right.
If you're a Chinese person, you're a Chinese person. If you're Indian, you're an Indian. No one is going to saying you're a human. Of where? From, you understand?
Right.
Like, so you're a Somali, you're a Chinese, you're a Chinese, you're a...
Now, do those labels come with a whole bunch of stereotypes and baggage and expectations?
But people just, call, like, I met an Indian person, I met a Chinese person,
Okay. Whereas here we dance around it. We don't talk about it.
For someone to share with someone, I was like, oh, by the way, have you seen our new neighbors? Instead of saying there's a black woman who is... like, oh, interesting. I had a conversation. She's quite interesting. She said she's from... Where? You could just say this. I met this black woman. She's from Uganda.
But nobody will say that.
Go in circles. To explain, it's a black woman. Now I
very dark complexion. Doesn't need sunscreen.
Exactly. So there's a rawness out there, which is so our corruption is not hidden in layers. Now your corruption is sophisticated to it. It's not open to the naked eye. You can't even know how things are moving as an ordinary person here. So because there's a machine here that works well. So what I like with your corruption is that because leaders around the world, they are corrupt. I'm telling you. Right from Russia to Japan, or to from one part of the world to the other. But what I like with the Western world corruption is your leaders deliver services. Now for us, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Until
they're corrupt
they're extremely
and they don't do
satisfied.
anything for you.
That's the difference.
Yeah. Because you don't really have like public education, you don't really have public
It's
medicine.
there, but it's very, 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 very poor.
Okay.
Poor. So, like the I guess you know already we have it's kind of it's a tiered system out there. So you have the majority of the people who are extremely poor. Then you have the minority who are like the middle class who can afford, whatever. Then you have a class of the filthy rich. They don't even know what to use the money for.
Yeah.
They just the money is literally kept under the beds, and they literally have no idea. Like they completely, it's a completely different class.
Yeah.
But then those services, the public services, are mainly used. So they are public schools, but they're mainly used by the very poor. So and the service delivery is very, very, very poor. The hospitals, which are free, very, very, very poor services.
Yeah.
So everyone, like in the middle class, the people who work, there's the alternative. So our private sector thrives
On the middle
that.
class.
Thrives on the middle class and thrives on the fact that the governments can't deliver.
Right.
So like garbage collection, all that is private.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's all private companies that do all those things for you.
Yeah.
The only, there's an advantage to that is that you can get any VIP service. And those are things I miss here. Because here you guys
VIP
don't
service?
have, you
No,
don't have VIP services. You can literally just, just imagine how far we used to live away from the city, but just to be able to call like the top spa in Kampala and this woman comes and gives you like the best massage in the country, in your village. You understand?
Yeah.
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 And it's not going to cost an arm and a leg. No. Like you being able to get services, like here, no, you can't.
Yeah.
Who are you going to call? I think they'll charge you an arm and a leg, and then you'll get bankrupt immediately.
That's kind of given me I've never really thought about that. But there are so many Canadians that complain about our healthcare and wish that we had that, like a private healthcare, that they could, if I just pay a little bit of money, I'll get better service than everybody else.
I think you're used to a system, and it works for you. Like I said, that is the only advantage for us out there.
Yeah.
Is that because you can afford it, and there are few people who can afford it, so you're able to get any service you want. If you want something to be flown in from anywhere in the world, you can't get it because you can be able to afford it, and you don't have to break a leg or an arm to get that service. But it's also unfair because that's also because the labor is very cheap. Yeah. So you have a class that benefits a lot from those kind of inequalities. And in fact, that's why maybe, remember the conversation I was telling you about the benefits for black people in a country like minorities? For me, I'm like...
Yeah.
I've thrived on a system which is very unequal. Yeah. It's unfair for me to come here and start coming. Do you understand? To be to benefit from a system where I'm like, what do you call it? You're not privileged. But where I come from,
you are privileged.
I've benefited from that system, and it's generations after generations, which is actually unfair and absurd. And that's when I started work. The reason I joined Rotary, my thirst, there's something, most of the voluntary work and community work that I do is aimed at bridging that gap between the very, very poor, and of course I think you can't reduce it to the extremely wealthy, but to reduce that gap that is there, that is really, really unfair.
Yeah.
And for me, it was all these things that I've done, joining, like I would say, Rotary, serving like in society where there was so many what they call it, projects that we're doing in the communities, like helping juvenile, what they call it, helping children who are caught up in the what they call it, juvenile legal system.
Okay.
Because to me, I feel like every human being deserves a right, to have basic, services, and I find I always gear towards children, because when you take care of actually children, then you have a better generation, the next generation, as opposed to taking care of the needs of 60-year-olds. So when I left school, I realized actually the unfairness. It wasn't even just through after school. When I was still young, I could see the difference. First, on the property.
On the farm, you see poverty. You see real poverty.
So you start questioning yourself, and you're like, how does it make sense that you have all this abundance, but then just next to you there's someone who literally just cannot have this access? And also you would ask yourself, how do these two communities live? Like, you have people who have pretty much so much, and then you have people who don't have at all. But then they survive. It also goes back to that thing I was telling you. Is there something innate in Africans which just makes them content?
Capable of thriving, even in the worst conditions.
In the worst conditions. How would you explain that?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I kept on seeing that unfairness. I didn't even answer your question on why did I do law. I feel for me it was from just witnessing that unfair world in life, and then later in life when I took a leadership course in South Africa, and I realized, we're going through this kind of exercise on how did we end up doing what we do now. Actually, no, it was in South Africa, but the guy was a professor from Oxford. So the leadership thing was split. Part of it was in South Africa, and then the other part were in not in London, in the UK at Oxford University. So this guy, they take you through an exercise to dig into your inner child, who you are as a person. So when they ask you all manner of questions, you fill in all these questions, and it turns out it's an unfair world, trying to bring fairness to the world. So that now geared me towards, I need to study law so that I can be able to create a more fair world. When I left law school, I was like, what can I do to bring some kind of sanity in this situation? But I feel like I have done 22 years, and there's so many obstacles. By the time I left Uganda, I'm like, sometimes you try to help. First of all, I also learned giving money to people to help, it doesn't help. You'd rather train them, to give them like skills. So I kept on now joining organizations or spaces which were more into training than giving money. Do you understand?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because if I give you $100,000 today,
I'll spend the money and then I won't have anything left.
Yes. Yeah. But if I teach you how to make $100,000, then I'll find you with $1 million. I mean, like that.
Can you teach me how to make it? I don't quite need $1 million, but a little
just
bit.
Want
a little bit of do.
No, I just realized actually recently, you just need to be quite ruthless. Not ruthless, because I hate being mean. And one of the things that I have learned is, but when you're too nice to people, they take advantage of you.
Yes.
I
am aware.
That's what I learned. I said, oh my God. And another thing I also learned is I used to be very, I would like to tune into everyone, like, who works for me or I work with, and like dig into their issues and personal life. But I realized later it also drains you. So
Yes.
you get drained and you can't move forward. You're supposed to steer a ship, but because everyone's problems are on you, so now when you create a human resource department which is strong, you're buffered from these issues.
Yeah.
Before I would be like, oh, what is that? What's his problem? Let's help. Oh my God, Erin. And then before you notice it, you're too heavy to actually move forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guard myself from that. So those are a few things I can share with you.
How, like, professionally, is there any, like, have you been able to help? Is the career of lawyer one that is actually able to help the poor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was talking about that juvenile project
Yeah.
that the Law Society
Okay.
runs. So they help. I found it at a stage where the Law Society lawyers give money. It's called legal aid. You give money.
Oh, okay.
So the Law Society runs. At that time, we were like 27 legal aid clinics all over the country. So the people who can't afford legal services to pay lawyers, they would go to the legal aid clinic, and then they would find lawyers there who would give them legal advice for free.
Okay.
And take them to court. Then the Law Society pays. So every lawyer contributes to that annually.
Okay.
Number two, then the one which has really touched me most was the juvenile project, where it focuses on kids who are trapped in the prison system, the legal system. And but then it was focusing on taking them out of prison, like representing them in court, making sure their cases are heard, and then they get out, and then they take them to rehabilitation. Okay. So when I came in, I was like, but wait, every year we take so many people out of prison, we help them, to process their case and all this thing, but still every year we get more cases, more. And when you actually look at the role, you find that half of the children that you take out of the system end up back into prison. So which means that we're not finding a solution. We are not finding a solution to the cause.
No, just
we are treating you remember the whole pharmacy thing where we started about the human health. You're treating the symptoms, but you're not taking care of the causes. So during that time I was serving as leading this project, we sat down and said, what is the cause? Why do these children end up first on the streets? Why do they end up in prisons? And so can we focus on taking these reducing the issues that cause them actually to get out there. And so remember, I said legal aid project. You also get donors. Most of the donors, when they give you money, they are attached to a particular objective, right?
Okay.
So their objective was to get children out of prison.
Yeah.
It was not to. So we carried out research and discovered that most of the reasons that actually kids end up on the streets is domestic issues. Domestic issues like torture of kids in whatever, abuse, what manner of abuses, poverty. That's how actually end up. There's most girls, it's usually prostitution. Why do they end up actually in prostitution? It could be sometimes it's poverty. They end up on this. They end up in situations where most of both their parents have passed on, and they have to fend for themselves. So the girl in the family ends up getting into prostitution so that she can fend for the younger ones. So those are the causes. So which means that now can we focus on stabilizing the family? But now that means you have to get into a different pool of donors. Because remember that donors who have been supporting this project for like 20 years, they're more interested in which cases how many cases have you resolved? How many children have gotten out of prison? How many have been taken to rehabilitation? Now you have to look for donors or try to convince these donors to divert that money to go into domestic issues.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? But then that project now, when you focus on domestic socio-economic issues actually that affect those children to get into the streets, then you find that actually the numbers reduce in prisons.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
So that's how actually lawyers are able to,
Yeah.
through legal aid, pro bono, giving pro bono
That's great.
services to even companies. Another thing I do a lot is I give pro bono services to startup companies, young really companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, to me, I'm like, I have the time, I have the experience, I have you know, the knowledge. That is one way of me giving back in the legal
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
But then outside that, through Rotary, I contribute to education systems. I don't know if Neil shared with you the blind school we've been supporting.
No.
There's a blind school near there at the farm where
Okay.
we've worked with them, but I mean, it has nothing to do with law. I mean, if they had like issues to do with drafting contracts, I can do that for free. But they needed fundraising, like water projects, and through Rotary you can do so much definitely. And one of the things I like about Rotary is you don't have to. You don't have to focus on your community. I mean, you donate money that helps people of need all over the world. So like here, the Rotary here actually, I found they already have projects in Uganda. So Rotarians here collect money and then they do projects in Malaysia, whatever,
Yeah.
South America, Uganda, yeah. So that's one of the things I also like about Rotary is that you bring fairness in the world. Like well, it doesn't have to be just my sister or my brother or my relatives or my community. But genuinely, I am very, I love to give back to my community. I love to be actually involved in community. And definitely for me, it's trying to aim on bringing a just world.
Yeah.
So now ask me here in Canada.
In Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah. What can you do here to help?
Thank you. So through Rotary, I've told you right now my age
Is it the same problems? Do you think we have the same problems?
Your problems are completely different.
Yeah.
They are problems, actually bigger problems than our problems.
Really?
Yeah. Our
Okay.
problems are much bigger. And why are they bigger? Because it's a bigger world, it's bigger economy, it's a bigger, like more sophisticated world. So you have more sophisticated problems. Yeah. But a problem is a problem. So whether you have, and sometimes also the way you respond to those problems. Because back in my home, if someone doesn't have water, right, tap water, it's okay. They'll go to the well and pick water and Erin,
if someone here
mother-
doesn't have water, it's
your
more
mother
complicated.
would literally go mad if she didn't have tap water in her
Yes,
house.
she
right?
would. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No African is going to go on the roof and fall down because they don't have running water.
Yeah.
No way. Impossible. Like, how
Yeah.
is
No,
that
people
possible?
here wouldn't know how to function
Yeah.
without that.
So, because I don't have running water, how is that even possible?
Where do I get water?
No, my people there, they're like, okay, where's the well? Where's the stream? Where?
Yeah.
So you see that it could be the same problem, but how do you respond to it? That's one. To why am I saying your problems are bigger is that because of the mass, you understand, everything you guys here is mass, like you understand, a lot. So even the sophisticated problems tend to be, how can I explain it? So you've taken care of all the basic needs of a human being, right? But then created other problems.
Yeah.
So the basic needs of a human being are taken care of, which is the reverse in my society.
Yes. Yeah. I remember thinking about
So
that.
basic,
there.
people's basic needs, like what you call, so you said that they're not there, but their basic needs for them would be, do I have family that loves me? Do I have a community? Do I have support in my community? Do I have support in my community? Do I have, do you understand, like, our basic needs back there are met by a completely different force for you to exist and move on. You understand? Like, can I share a meal with someone else? But also food is, nature has definitely been good to us that anyone can be able to dig a hole in the ground and produce.
Yeah. There's food everywhere in Uganda.
So there's food insecurity is not an issue. That's one. So that basic need is there. Then water, it doesn't have to flow in the tap for it to be that. So you guys say it's a basic need, right? No, for us, it's not. Is there free water moving around in the lake and in the streams? If the lakes go dry and the streams dry up, then that would create a problem. But as long as the river is still flowing, the lake is full of water, and the streams are still here, then there's water.
Yeah. Yeah. And even just like in Uganda, a person can build their own house with mud and sticks.
Exactly.
Whereas
So
here,
actually,
building your own house is a completely different story.
That's another thing I was also thinking about the youth, actually. I was just thinking, everything is for you guys is like cookie cut stuff, right? Like you leave school and, you find a house and all the things. So the young people over the years have been stripped of doing things, you understand? In Uganda,
They're just put on a conveyor
you
belt.
build a house. Yeah, you can build your own house.
Yeah.
And the joy and the resilience you get through that, you understand, takes you through, you understand, life. You understand? It just gives you another lease.
Yeah.
You understand? Like
that you can do things for yourself.
You're able to till land. You understand? Tilling land is
powerful.
It's a very, very powerful thing, as opposed to I've gone to the thing and I've bought a chicken. Okay, I've bought chicken and you're eating it and all this thing. But being part of the process from hatching the what?
The eggs.
The eggs.
Yeah.
Growing them and all this thing. That alone, that cycle, it's a rhythm. Then by the time it gets onto your plate, you understand, the gratitude in there. You understand the cycle. So you guys are missing that. Like that's what I said, is that your problems are sophisticated problems. So now for us Africans, if you remove that, then Africans will suffer. Yeah, you will not find people on that continent, because that's another thing you have to ask yourself. With all the level of sophistication that is here, but people there, they wake up and there will be no one on the continent, because why? There's so many diseases there, because we live with we live with bacteria, we live with living things in our houses.
Yeah.
So there would be no people there. So what? The first thing you should ask yourself, how do people there survive? Because they live with nature.
Yeah.
You're part of the cycle. You're also just like like how the trees live, or the animals live. You're also part of the cycle.
Yeah.
And when you're not in that cycle, that's now when you suffer and die. But as long as you're in that cycle, then you can live. Nature takes care of you. Nature heals you.
Yeah. I like that.
We've been told from childhood that the sun is medicine.
Whereas we've been told the sun is cancer, stay out of it.
If you're sick, you must go outside. If you're a child, you must go outside and play if you're sick.
Yeah, whereas we're told stay in bed if you're sick.
No, you must go outside.
Yeah.
Or if not, just sit outside. If you don't have energy, sit outside. Your mother will insist that you have to. As soon as you wake up, your windows have to be open, because the sun needs to come in and treat you.
Yeah, I can definitely see how you've developed your habit of opening the windows every single day. It's been part of your life.
Yeah, but then guess how you guys now treat that? You have lights. Is it lights that give you heat?
You have special lights to give you vitamin D and
I don't have to pay for it. I'm going to pay $300 for that machine. Yeah. But guess what? If I sit here, do you see how people survive there? Yeah. They don't. This machine. Because what I've actually realized that there's a lot of advancement in things, right? But at the end of the day, very simple things don't have actually to be very complicated. Like, for example, if I want to take tea, I can have a cup that it could be a robot can feed me, right? But I can also use my hand. So an African would insist they would use their hand. You will insist, no, it's a modern world. I need a robot. You click something, tea. And then it feeds you tea. But you've taken the tea, I've also taken the tea, you understand? But my arm actually is still working, and it's still exercising, right? But for you, the robot is feeding you.
Yes.
Over time, your hands will not actually be working.
Yes.
Then the African's hand will be still working.
Yeah.
But the robot is costing you money. You have to go to work to pay for that robot to feed you tea.
Yeah.
I don't need to work to pay for that robot to feed me. I just use this arm.
You do it yourself, and your arm works.
Yes.
Whereas we have slaved our lives for a machine to do this thing for us.
The next generation and next generation and next generation.
Yeah.
Then you'll find out that, oh my goodness, this robot has actually taken away my power. My arm doesn't have energy anymore. And it doesn't have energy anymore. then it's what do you call it? It's become weak.
Yeah.
Oh, the pharmacist. I read somewhere that in the pharmacy I can get something to give me strength in my arm. You're serious? The African is not working. Is not doesn't have to. That doesn't need that money. Doesn't need to go to the pharmacy to give strength to their arm.
Yeah.
Because they use it every day to.
I think you just
drink.
nailed it on the head right there. And like also like one of the biggest conflicts that I have with Don on the farm is he wants to use machines to do everything, and I want to do everything by hand. And it's because I remember being in Uganda and watching all these people working in the fields by hand, these huge fields, and they're doing everything by hand. They were the most muscular people I have ever seen in my entire lives. Number one, so first we're spending money on the machines so that we don't have to do the hard work. And then we're spending money on a gym membership to give ourselves the muscles that the Africans got from doing the hard work. It's ridiculous. But then they also have the added satisfaction of having accomplished a difficult goal with their own body. And we don't have the satisfaction. We have the discontentment of being owned by the machine that's doing the work for us and being owned by the gym that we're working out in. And
also having to, you go to the bank and borrow money to get that machine, and then you have to get the gym membership, and you also get it on credit. Actually, that's another thing I was also telling you. I was like, another thing I'm thinking is that because the world in Africa, very few people operate on credit.
Yes.
Unless maybe it's a business, but like on a personal day to day.
Yeah.
If you don't have that money, then you're not going to eat.
Yeah. Whereas here, okay. Everything's credit.
Everything is on credit. So you get your house, you have to, and then the stress, everyone is able to build their own house. It could be small, it could be the smallest, it could be the, whatever you're able to, but you're able to build a house. You're not going to go to the bank and someone puts the rope in you, whatever. There's that class of people who do that, but I'm talking about the majority of an African, an average African. Yeah. So you when you wake up in the morning, there's no deduction. You don't have to go and work your head off, so that you have this what they call it, every month you have to pay. This deduction, you have to pay this. Then the insurance list, then the whatever, then then you get the car. Okay, that was just the house. Then the car. Then what? So that cycle for an average African doesn't happen. So if you don't have all those things, then you walk. You walk everywhere. You can be able to walk everywhere or cycle everywhere.
Yeah.
And when you cycle everywhere and walk everywhere, you're with Mother Earth. The sun is taking care of you. Physically,
Okay, so now we've just had this conversation all about how unhealthy North American society is, and yet you have just chosen to move your children to North America and raise them here.
Oh my God! Thank you for asking that question.
How are you? Because obviously there's pros and cons to both, right? There's so much more opportunity here for your kids than, but you're choosing to introduce them to this kind of toxic existence.
And Erin, the truth of the matter is, at first, especially the food, was going to break me. And I was, first of all, I would get into the supermarket, and I would get like an anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be like, oh my God, you can't tell me that. Because first of all, remember that 5 years before coming here, we had moved ourselves from the city and into
the farm
life.
Yeah.
And I'm older, I'm wiser. I know exactly what products. When you're young, you're just eating.
Yes.
I have gone to a certain age, and I know exactly like what, if bread is on the shelf for 30 days, that means there's something not right in there.
Yeah.
I know exactly that these gums, all the colors, they are just not good for us. It's color. Why is that color? It's artificial color. It's in our bodies. You're putting it in your blood. When I was 20, I could eat myself and have even a sugar rush and all that. But it's also the age that is breaking me. If I had moved here younger, all these problems wouldn't have happened. But to me, it was more of like, oh my good Lord, this is not right, this is not right. And because we had found a way of you eating from the earth, then suddenly that is completely taken away from me. So what helped me now is, close by we have the Mennonite. Whatever.
The St.
So going to the
Market,
market and just understanding actually there are people actually who are behind this force who can bring us, good food. And then also in our supermarket nearby, the grocery store, there's a shelf for what they call it, egg free range. You saw the
Yeah.
eggs we
Yeah.
had this morning. Free range eggs, free range meat, beef, free range, all those things. Yeah,
Yeah.
chicken. So I feel like having that calmed me down a lot, and then the rest of these things which are I can try to avoid them out of my diet, because there's also me. I don't want to have my inflammation, go out of the roof, and so there's me first of before I even think of the kids, because if I'm not well, I'm not able to take care of the family, right? So there was just my health and knowing so much. You understand? 5 years of knowing the right thing.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you go back on the conveyor belt.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I was like, oh my God, this is death. Anyway, so that really overwhelmed me. But I've now decided to pay a little more to get the right food,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
also that food is there, the one which is organic. Anyway, so that is how I've survived. Then about the kids, the school is still giving me a lot of anxiety, because, especially the older ones, because I'm just really, guess not really trying to, I'm not understanding what exactly. There's so many things that are just ticking me off. Like, again, a very simple thing is, you try as much as possible to take your kids away from like these sugar things, and then
Yeah.
you find, at school, and the teacher gave us
Yeah.
sweets.
Yeah.
Like, why do they first of all need to give you sweets? Because people won't do any work.
Yeah.
I said, why wouldn't the kids get any work? Yeah, because the other child, they couldn't sit in class, they were whatevering, they were throwing things at the teacher, like, you know, like the chaos that just goes on
Yeah.
into class.
They use candy to manage the children
Yes.
and motivate them.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, how is that even? How are you teaching? So just think of an African child that I'm not going to study because I don't have a sweet.
Yeah, that's not going to fly.
Of course not. It's not possible. So I'm just thinking, what exactly happened? So I'm still working on that. And at first it was like so bad. So we had some teacher meetings, and somehow it calmed me down. But yeah, it's work in progress. So the big question is that why? Okay, the decision to bring them here. Every place in the world, Erin, there are pros and cons. Despite all the beauty, everything like you have in Africa and in my country, it still has its con. And that has also come from me living and traveling in different spaces. You can go in a world where it could be so beautiful. Like, for example, have you been to Singapore?
Yes.
It's so
Yeah.
beautiful, and everything in manicured and all the things. There are pavements everywhere. Like, to find earth, my God. and you have to be in AC because it's more humid, I think, I guess, throughout the year. I'm like, okay, this world it's beautiful, it's nice. And but to me, it's very plastic.
Yeah.
Dubai, it's very plastic. It's
Very
not really
managed. Everything is managed. And
it's not like, for me to stay in Dubai, it's like, okay, yeah, everything is automated and all these things, but no, there's no, you understand, there's no, it doesn't do for me. It's a very fictitious world. Now, one of the things I love about Canada is your nature. And I think that, because just imagine if we had moved to Dubai and we are staying in an apartment, of course we would have already gone back.
yeah, you would have gone crazy.
So I feel like Canada has helped. It's nature, like your ecosystem is like so rich. It has everything. It has the mountains, it has the rivers, it has the streams, it has the forests. Like, you can enjoy so much. The parks, and also pretty much the infrastructure and the systems, and things actually work, right?
Yeah.
So, in addition to a system that definitely works, but I like the fact that your nature is also, and there are systems for you to be able to enjoy that nature at a very, very good, price. So that has helped me. And another thing that has helped me is, remember homeschooling. So I still feel I'm able to teach my children to add on to what they learn in school. And I think I'm able to do that because of the flexible work hours I have. So I'm able to, it's helped me working from home, remote work, it has helped me. So that has grounded me. The fact that I'm able to know exactly what goes on in their life, I can be able to be in touch with them on a daily. Yeah, but in terms of, so if you'd ask me why would I live a space like that, I'm like, so how can I now replicate a mini world of what I know is sanity for me?
Yeah.
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 So is trying to find a community here,
Yeah.
people, like-minded human beings, good enough our neighborhood. People have been very kind to us. So trying to find like play groups with people who and are able to communicate without being addicted on
Yeah.
on technology 24 hours.
Yeah.
We have used technology in our lives for you know the story. There's a part where they have access that shouldn't have access to technology, but at the same time you also don't want play dates where from the time that children meet up to the time they leave, they're just on their gadgets, right?
Yeah.
So it's finding those kind of children who can be able to understand our life. And it's just being really intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I think that's the biggest struggle that I have, is trying to figure out how to, like, on the one hand, we do live in a very unhealthy society. My children need to be able to function in this society, but I also don't want them to be very unhealthy. So like trying to find the balance between like how much of this unhealthy society do we participate in, and how much do we not participate in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's basically that balance, and I feel like sometimes it will tilt on one side and then the other side. So finding a balance can be also very, very difficult, because now I know, and what I've decided to do is just to tell them that, okay, this is the sugar you've taken. This is what's going to contribute to your body. This is what, you understand. It's just having those honest conversations that you can be on the computer, on your gadgets for 24 hours, and then you'll have a zombie brain.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. Like I feel our parents didn't know exactly what the impact of technology, so they never told us anything of that sort, right? But what I hear now, what the kind of damage it's doing to young people, really, especially teenagers, how they're able to trust these robots to a level of advising them to commit suicide. It's unbelievable.
It's wild. Yeah.
It's quite unbelievable. So now the question is, some parents are like, yes, your kids could use a gadget, but always make sure that you know what they're watching. Like it can't be behind closed doors. But many times you also need, I guess, time to yourself. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's trying to really find a balance. But there's no perfect world out there.
No.
It doesn't happen.
Whatever we do, we're probably doing something wrong. We just have to do the best.
There's no perfect world, but just in comparison of the two worlds, I just feel like most of the challenges here, it's voluntary. Your problems are like, they can actually be easily stopped. But it's just that everyone doesn't want to analyze where those problems are coming from.
Yeah.
And the problems are, like, you have big solutions for the cause is small, but you have very big solutions. So the big solutions, like, you have high-tech hospitals, right? And your pharmacies are full of every medication in the world. But then, if you change the lifestyle and just get out of this box, let in fresh air, use the sun, use the earth.
Simple solution.
Yeah, the solution is very simple. That is the reason why a healthcare system like that. Just imagine your high-tech hospitals here. Do you think that would change the life of people there in my village? No, because they would not need to go there. So the high-tech actually hospitals are good for like big surgeries, but day-to-day life.
Yeah.
No, you don't need.
Yeah.
Like you need a brain surgery,
and
or you need
so
this.
many of the ailments that people have, typical, mainstream medicine can't help for, like the anxiety and depression and things like that. Mainstream medicine is very bad, or like the chronic illnesses and migraines and things like that. Mainstream medicine is very poor at helping those things.
No, but because also the medicine it's dealing with the symptoms. It's not dealing with the with the cause. So if you take away the cause or you reduce the cause, then there will be no need for investing so much in your healthcare, because people. But the good news is, for me, finding so many people on those trails, hiking trail,
Out in nature. Yeah.
I also wonder why then so many people are sick. Like, do you understand? It's also weird. So that means it's a small percentage of people actually who go out there.
Yeah.
Then the rest are happy to just stay indoors.
Go to the mall.
Huh?
They go to the mall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, so there's that life. You wake up, then you go to the mall, you come back, you go to work, and then everything is indoors. I don't know. So that's my life. So it's and also the choosing to move was more of a, what can I say? At the age, at my age, has much more, like I say, advantages. It's difficult for the body because at your age now, if you say you're now going to move to Timbuktu. Yeah. You know Timbuktu exists, although to people in North America it doesn't seem to exist, but it's there.
Yeah, Timbuktu is just a fictional. Yeah.
It's to you guys it's fictional,
real.
But it's there.
Yeah, it's real.
So imagine if you move there, your whole body and system will have to get used to that.
Yes.
So, but when you're younger, somehow I feel like everything is more exciting.
Yeah.
But when you're older, you're more content human being, and you know better.
Yeah.
You've been beaten by life. Yeah. Like life has given you some slaps, right?
You're like, all I really want is my bed and my pillow. That's all I want in life.
And you've been thrown, what do I call it, curveballs. You've received so many curveballs. You know how to deal with them. You can see it from a distance and say, you know what?
Yeah.
Let me just move away so that that curveball goes. That's a good thing with age. You're just wiser.
Yeah.
If you move here as a young person, you end up in the mall the whole time. I don't need anything in that mall. I don't need to buy. There was a time when I was still a student. I was a shopaholic. If I had moved here at that time,
that would have been dangerous.
I would just wait. What time does this shop open? You understand? I would just be buying things. I don't need to buy. I don't need to go and shop the whole supermarket to feel any joy or satisfaction. No. I don't know. I know who I am, my identity. You understand? Like, there's so many things. People say it's difficult. Actually, everyone was like, how can you move at your age? You're at the peak of your career. How can you move at your age, like my age? Why would you live this kind of life? Because everyone knows here you don't have the percentage of Africans who get that kind of privilege, like you. Giving that up, it's very difficult for them because the fact that you can afford it and it's there and you can.
Yeah.
So
do you mean that by like in Uganda you're privileged and in here you're just a normal person. Average middle class. Yeah.
So the privileges I would have there.
Yeah.
You don't even have to earn a lot of money to you understand?
Yeah.
To get that much. Here,
you
must earn like $100,000 a month to get those kind of privileges.
Yeah.
I don't have to earn $100,000 a month to earn those kind of privileges. So definitely, someone my age with that kind of the work I was doing, good enough. I'm able to still do it here. The question was to people is like, why are you going for something?
Yeah, taking a step down at this stage in your life. Which is funny.
Exactly. And so everyone was like, you're going to come back.
But now you can't go back because you got to prove them wrong.
It's not proving them wrong. I was determined to do so. For me, I had gotten to a point where I feel like it's the 5 years of me moving myself away from that the rat race,
city, yeah.
and knowing really that also that life of me being on a conveyor belt, waking up in the morning, you're in the office, the plane going here, and all these things was not adding up for me.
Yeah.
At all. So
Yeah.
I had found satisfaction and content in a very simple life, like hearing my kids in the background laughing or playing, you understand, picking them from school, doing things, going camping with them in the winter. That satisfaction. So I had gotten the satisfaction in very the simple things of life. Mm-hmm. Do you understand?
Yeah. Yes.
So the rat race
doesn't appeal to you anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So when you're at that stage, no much. If I was still living in Uganda, in Kampala, and in that rat race, it would have been difficult. Hello. Because because do you understand? Like, yes, I'm going to. You come back, you move here, and then with your career, everyone's like, you're going to go back. At the bottom of the food chain. Yeah. But you're after okay you've worked your and I'm like you don't mind. Let's see what the world has to to offer. Yeah. I feel it's a state of mind. It's a state of mind, like no amount of convincing for me. In my head I was just thinking, and also where is home? As long as my children are here, my husband is here, where is home? In fact I went back to Uganda. As soon as I arrived, I was like, okay. Yeah. Where is home? Yeah. I was like, I need to go back home. And I'm like, I need to come back. Can you imagine? It's so weird. Yeah. Yet I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to go and then enjoy this and enjoy that. Of course I enjoyed the food and all that, but
maybe not the birds waking you up in the morning.
The kokoliyoko, like it was just so funny. Yeah, so there was so many people like in the professional circles thinking I was like mad. Like, how can you give up all this and then just go back down? But I'm like, I felt 5 years ago. The other thing is that I feel like there's a reason why so many things happen to us. I always ask myself, how did we move from the city to the farm? Do you understand? And found comfort there and contentment and created a world there. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? Yeah. So that means I can also create that world somewhere else. Yeah. Isn't it? If you can create a world, like I follow many people who are doing something like yours, and I feel like that's going to be the new muscle. You understand? Of you uprooting yourself and saying, you know what, this is actually not working for me. Yeah. Can I create, or I'm able to create this here? Yeah. So I feel like if you told me that you moved to Kathmandu or something, I wouldn't be worried about you. Yeah. Because I know you'll have a roof, you'll have shelter, you'll be able to feed your children. Yeah. Because you pulled yourself out of a system and said, I can survive. Yeah. My own way, on my own terms. On your own terms. Yeah. And you're still but I think in your DNA there must be some African genes there. Because you can easily find a stream and say, yeah, it's okay. That stream can supply us with water. Yeah, yeah. And everyone is like, Erin, it's a stream. You need whatever. So, yeah.
Cool. That's a good note to end it on. Thank you. Thanks for humoring me, Alice.
I cannot believe you've led me to this.
Yeah. So that was my interview with Alice. I want to sort of start with saying, so my kids and I spent the night at their house, and in the morning when we woke up, Alice went around the house and just opened the windows. It's March in Canada. It was snowing. There was a blizzard that morning, but she went around the house and opened all the windows to get the air circulating and moving through the house. It was a subject that she kept coming back to again and again, how she really she cannot understand how Canadians can sit in these houses that are completely airtight with no fresh air coming in from outside, and to her it just feels stale and suffocating, and she needs to let fresh air in every single day. And we talked about how like usually a furnace does have sort of an intake where it's bringing in fresh air from the outside, but the problem is that in a forced air furnace, any fresh air that you bring from outside is then traveling through your ducts that, depending on how often you get them cleaned, they probably have years worth of dust piled up inside of them. So even when you do bring in fresh new air, then you run it through the same ducts that your rotten old air ran through. And so It is really quite stale. The air in our houses is really stale. Now, my house, I built it myself, so there's plenty of leaks. This is not an airtight house. And I actually, when I was researching how to build a house, I saw how much emphasis there is on airtight, and I just didn't prioritize that. And it means that, yeah, my house does feel cleaner to me. The air doesn't feel quite as stale, but I also have a lot of bugs in my house. So and it's funny how I will get comments on some of my YouTube videos about almost suggesting that flies in the house is like a human rights violation, like I am abusing my children by having flies in my house. But there are so many countries in the world that I have visited where it is very normal to have flies inside your house. When I lived in Australia, there would be geckos inside the house, and Africa too. There are also geckos inside the house in Africa. So I don't know. I think what this interview really brings forth for me, and I have a feeling I'm going to rant about it quite a bit on my vlog on Wednesday. It really brings forth to me how there are so many things that people, if you live in one country your whole life, there are so many things that you just take for granted as to what's normal, what's healthy, how things are supposed to be, the right way to do things. And when you live in more than one country, especially if it's a different like economic or really different like sociocultural differences, you really start to realize how many of those things are just sort of arbitrary. How many of the things that we think of as normal, that we take for granted as how it's supposed to be, are really just that way just for the place where you live. And if you live in a completely different place, completely different rules. They did offer to let me live on their property in Uganda, because I was building a house and they knew I needed somewhere to live, and they invited me to come and live on their property in Uganda. And I seriously thought about it because I do love how connected to nature that the lifestyle is in Uganda. But I didn't like how they talked to children. I found that very problematic. It's very much an old school style where children should do as they're told immediately and without question, and they will be physically punished if they don't do as they're told or if they don't meet the expectations. People did not respect bodily autonomy or consent with my children. They would scoop them up and pick them up, and even when my children said no, people would do it anyways. It was very much an emphasis on physically forcing your kids to do things that they didn't want to do, and that's just not aligned with my viewpoint. And to the point where, like, for instance, Alice talked about how Canadian schools, they bribe children with candy in order to get them behave, and how that would never fly in Africa. And the reason that wouldn't fly in Africa is because they use the threat of physical punishment to get children to behave in Uganda. And so a lot of people would hear that and they would think, well, that's how we should be doing it. We shouldn't be rewarding them with candy. We should be threatening them with violence if they don't do what they're told. And I just don't buy into either of those. My philosophy is, if you need either bribery or violence to get a kid to do something, then maybe the kid is not capable of doing that thing. Maybe they don't want to do that thing. Maybe you shouldn't be trying to force a kid to do something that they're not capable of doing or that they don't want to do. That's generally my third way of looking at things. But I'm never going to say that one way is always right and one way is always wrong. You have to just sort of choose which is aligned with your values. I really loved Alice's thoughts on AI and how, and she is very, so she is known for being a technology lawyer in Uganda, in Africa. She travels all over Africa to speak on technology and the law. She and her husband both very much embrace AI and technology in everything that they do. So it's really interesting to me to sort of see her sort of as someone who has embraced it and who has so much experience with it, for her to see, these are the strengths and these are the weaknesses and these are the things I worry about, and so on and so forth. So I found that part of the discussion very interesting. I also really liked hearing her talk about her father. Her father is an extremely interesting man. He died about a year before I got to Uganda, so I never got to meet him, but everybody talked a lot about him and everyone had a lot of respect for him. People from the community would come to the property. They would actually come to speak to Alice's mother on their knees, because that is still the way that you deal with someone that you have a lot of respect for, or that is of a higher standing in society than you. So that was quite interesting to witness. And it was also interesting to see Alice's story about how she eventually came to recognize her own privilege entering a line of work in which her father was so successful. I found that really interesting too, to see that she had really recognized, oh, wait a minute, I do have privilege here. And she is a person who sees her privilege and tries to use her privilege to help other people who don't have privilege, which I have a huge amount of respect for. I really have a lot of love and respect for Alice and her husband. They're great people. I'm very happy to have them in Canada so I can see them more often. Although the girls are planning to go back to Uganda in a couple of years, so we're really going to have to work hard to try to arrange it so that we're there at the same time. And I think this video is long enough. I think this podcast is probably long enough, so I'll cut it off there. Thanks very much for hanging out with me. Next week we have an interview with Sam, who is 12 years old, and I have known her since she was a tiny baby, and she's been itching to be on my podcast. So that's next week. Take care, everyone. Have a great time.